Good day everyone, it's Pramita here. Sometimes you might wonder whether leaders are born, or sometimes you might wonder whether they are being taught. Well, I'm here to tell you it can be a mixture of both, and more importantly, leadership develops over time when you get the experience that you need. But for you to become an effective leader, there are some overarching qualities, overarching traits that you need to have within yourself. If you don't have that, you need to start developing themselves. Leadership is always about managing people. The moment people are involved, that means emotions are involved as well, which means you have to be empathetic. You have to always put yourself into the other person's shoe before you make decisions. I'll give you an example. Sometimes there might be a person in your team. He might be always bad at the work that you allocate to him, or he might always lag behind the rest of the team. So you might always be frustrated and you might always want to make a decision, oh, this guy is not good for my team, maybe I should let him go. Rather just making a snap judgment just because the projects that you have allocated to him that he was unable to deliver, you should put yourself into his shoe and think what he is really good at. Remember, each and every human being is unique. So you need to be able to understand the different set of skills within your team. And based on that, you should be able to give them opportunities so that they can prosper. And once they develop themselves and they are able to tell you that they are good at that, then you can give them further development opportunities for them to prosper. And this is a very difficult skill. It is not going to be developed overnight. That will come to you through experience. Leadership is always learned through trial and error. So sometimes you might fail, sometimes it can end up being a disaster, sometimes it can end up being the best experience that you ever had. Sometimes you don't have to be a designated leader for you to prove yourself. You just need to take leadership in anything that you do. Yes, leadership always involves managing people. You don't necessarily need to have team members for you to demonstrate that you are a good leader. Sometimes you will be given a project, or sometimes you will be given a task. Maybe the task involves that managing multiple and conflicting objectives of different individuals. And as long as you manage and as long as you demonstrate that you are capable of doing that, yes, you have demonstrated good leadership skills. And the next thing is, if you are a designated leader and there are team members who are looking upon you, you need to be able to inspire them. You need to be able to get the best out of them. You should be someone your team members always look up to. You might sometimes not want to be their friends all the time. You see, there is a difference between being a friend and being a good leader. Yes, you can be a good friend to them. But more than that, you could be someone who is inspirational to them. They are someone who are looking at you to get the inspiration. So that's different than just being a friend to themselves, which means you have to be brave and you have to be bold to tell them when they do the wrong thing to their face. And it has to be direct, and it has to make sure that you are doing it in a positive way so that it helps them to develop themselves, while it helps themselves to develop themselves further, while it helps for you to achieve the organization objectives. Leadership is also about managing conflicting objectives. Sometimes you might wonder, oh my God, there are 3 different parties with conflicting objectives. Whose position that I need to take? You have to make that decision based on the most or the best available information at that time. For an instance, sometimes you have to take the decision which is at the best interest of your employees. Sometimes you have to overweigh the risks and rewards. Sometimes you have to take the decision which is good or which is the best for your customer, or sometimes to the stakeholders or the shareholders. Either way, you can't just take a decision based on a snap judgment. You have to always evaluate the available information in your hand, and then you have to make the decision. Remember, once you make the decision, you have to live by it. You have to live by the consequences of it, and you have to accept the responsibility. And that's when you become a mature and good leader. So always remember, the moment you hear the word leadership, it involves managing people. People are diverse, people are complex because emotions play a great part in that. So you make sure that you become empathetic and you manage the conflicting objective the best way it's possible, because you will always learn it on a trial and error basis, as there is no hard and fast rule for you to become a good leader. That's it for today, guys. Until I see you, enjoy.